Hello, 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 hello. All right. So, who is here on this Sunday? Raise your hand, raise your hand, make a friend. Good day, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. And today we're going to cover a very important topic. And I just want to say greetings to everybody who is here. And I will wait to see who is out and about. So let's weigh in, folks. Happy Sunday to everybody, and I hope you're doing well. We're going to talk about an important topic, Electric Owl Works. Chaz, my brother, how are you, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. It would be really cool if I could actually see folk on YouTube. That would be really nice. It would be extremely interactive, you know. That would be nice. But maybe that's a future update. But listen, man, Chaz, I appreciate you, brother, being here. Nevertheless, and who else is in the house? Because I got some important stuff to talk about today, man. Because this topic keeps coming up with the youngsters, But I'm doing well. So, Chaz, what's happening in your neck of the woods, man? I think I went to your website and checked out your studio, and it's a pretty big place, man. So what's going on with you? Talk to our brother. Talk to me. Here I am, live and in living color, broadcasting to you live with the Warm Audio WA-47 today. Yeah, so talk to me, man. What's happening? What's happening? Gonna wait for a few more to gather around. As a matter of fact, I'll spend this time turning on some light. That would be nice, right? Hey, that would be nice. Let's get some lights happening. Jesus, you think I would have did that before? Let's get that on and let's turn this on. Hang on a second, everybody. All right, here we go. All right, so that's better. That's better. Now it gives the. It's good to be seen. Yeah, man. Yeah. B. Smith is in his Izzy. What's up, man? Good. Lots of mastering gigs. About 20. What? Wow. Good for you. Good for you, man. May you get 10 times that amount to the point where you have to hire a staff or farm some of that work out. You know what I mean? Subcontractor style. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Although, listen, I got a story. I always got stories. What's funny is that it's always harder to hire people who are in business for themselves, And I had someone that reached out to me once and said, "Hey, listen, if you have anything coming up, reach out to a brother." And I was like, "Yeah, that's cool, no problem. I'll do that." And the minute I call the brother on the gig, he wants to start running me. I'm like, I'm signing the check, bro. Okay, let's not get it twisted, But it was funny. It was just funny, I guess sometimes, things don't work out as anticipated. But it was kind of funny to see, that we were having that level of conflict on my gig. It's funny. But it's all good, man, nevertheless. But let's look at some. John Lance. What's up, brother? Happy Sunday to you too, man. Beastman, okay, trying out a new setup? No, actually this is the work that I've had done. Still in like a bit of transition, if you will. So several things are at play at any given moment with me, but it's all good. Got a new set of. Oh, okay. Electric Outworks, a new set of Eve audios. I have a friend of mine who has Eves, and he likes them a lot. I think they're manufactured by Adam, the company Adam. But that's good, man. Okay, so we have a quorum of one, two, three people. We'll wait for maybe five or a little bit more. But it's been an interesting week for me. There's a lot happening, man. I mean, outside of this whole COVID thing, Mr. Smooth, what's up, man? Um, Outside of the whole COVID thing, I'm from a business perspective having to transition on so many levels, man. You got to be prepared for a post COVID life as we all move in that direction. And it's a lot of planning because the one thing you want to be is on the right side of the equation, after this thing blows over. And that's my overarching goal because I know the old business model is not going to work anymore. We all have to make adjustments, and for me, it's like, okay, pre-COVID, I had one thing I wanted to work on. Post-COVID, it's going to be a whole other, dynamic altogether. But it's been a interesting week from the perspective of just communicating with people on the community page as well as in the comments, just answering some general questions that I keep getting over and over and over and over again. And I'm not, upset at it as much as I want to inform properly. And I think it has a lot to do with most people who are just getting into doing any level of audio production, especially if you're sub 40. They're coming at it from the perspective of everything in a computer. And honestly, I guess outboard gear is foreign to them. So I want to talk to those individuals, today. And it's going to be a whiteboard session because after I'm done, I'm going to time stamp this information and at the same time, allow people to go back and take notes, because that's important. When you don't know, you don't know. You kind of learn, as they say, by osmosis. And everybody has not had the opportunity to go to university or to go to a recording program where they could learn. And even in those programs, you really don't get, you get your hands dirty, but you don't get them dirty enough, in other words. So I want to address those individuals who have those questions. And the questions keep coming up. I'm going to get to that in a minute, but let's read some comments. Okay, the animator, Roland left the company. Oh, okay. And good stuff. My wife and the studio apartment and I are getting our second vaccine. Okay, cool. Excellent, man. That's good. That's good stuff. Missed a few. Okay, Mr. Smooth says, missed a few lives. Just glad to be here. Good. And hope all is well. Yes, I'm trying, brother. And trying to stay safe, healthy, and creative during these crazy times. Yes, sir. You got to keep yourself motivated. That's for sure. My wife just said hello to everybody, so you can wave back at her in the comments. Nice to have you here. And let's get into it. A common question that I keep getting. Let me move this out of the way. Amongst the young folk is this. I'm gonna read it to you really quick. It's from the Clark Technic KT two-way review. Thanks for sharing. Does it dull the sound or is it transparent? What you put through it, do you get the same clarity? Now, it's a lot of information out there on compressors, so I think it's fair for me to start with the characteristics of the four different types. Well, I'll deal with the characteristics later, but the four different types of compressors, and they are mu, which is tube, optical, VCA, and FET, field effect transistor, which field effect transistors or FETs are like tubes. They were created shortly after tubes were, I guess, slowly but surely phasing out. But as we see, nothing is ever old. It just gets put to the side for a minute, only to return as I'm on a tube microphone, as you see. So a lot of information that I'm finding that's out on YouTube has a lot to do with varying manufacturers of compressors, as well as whether or not it colors the sound. Now, I want to be very colors the sound, and what sound does it give it, transparent or not. Now, I want to be very clear when I share this information, because let me start at the top with how I use a compressor. A compressor is nothing but a tool. Period. A compressor is a tool. It's like a hammer, it's like a screwdriver or a plier. It's a tool. Now, there are different tools in the toolbox. They can be VCA, it could be mu, it can be an optical, or it could be a FET. Each of those types of compressors have certain characteristics that you may like on a source or not. Okay? You have 4 choices: mu, optical, VCA, or FET. That's yours. It's a tool. Let's start there. But let's also talk about who might want a little character on their sound. Guitar players, like an Oz Noy or Steve Vai, or pick your favorite guitar player of choice. They want maybe some character on sound. They're going to rely on the character of the compressor that they're using, of their choice, to enhance their sound. Bass players like a Marcus Miller or Victor Wooten. Instrumentalists like violinists who are instrumental artists who want to color their violin or their viola or their clarinet a particular way to give them a signature sound. Or maybe vocalists. Maybe not, but maybe so. I mean, I would suspect that would be more genre dependent, in that maybe a punk vocalist or a screamer type rock vocalist or an alternative rock vocalist would want a compressor, a particular compressor type, like a FET or a VCA or an optical, to give them the character or the sound that they want, or they're looking for, in other words. Now, 2 types of designs of compressors exist. They are feed forward, which is more likely a VCA, or a feed backwards type of design, which is now coming full circle. And I'm going to make a point really quick about the feed backwards design and why a lot of people, I think, are looking for a lot of character from their compression tool, if you will. Now, let's jump to the next slide. These are the characteristics of the 2 types of compressors. Okay, folks, you have a DBX and other VCA-based compressors have a feed-forward type design, which means you get the audio that's coming into the circuit gets a tap that throws it over via the sidechain to the control circuit, which feeds that back outward to the amp, and the combined signals are on the output. Okay? Now, in the feed backwards type design, such as the 1176, the Gates Sta-Level, the LA2A, and other mu-based compressors, the signal passes straight through, all the way to and through, and the tap for the control circuit is on the back end. The combination of the 2 get fed to the amp, and you get a combined sound on the output. Now, I had to dive deeper into this whole thing because it's a suspicion of mine that I think most people are looking for the latter. And so this whole debate about whether warm is better, or the whole debate about whether um, Clark Technic or an actual UA 1176 versus other, clone type of DIY types that are out there. All this debate takes place because of the desire to hear the compressor. So I said, let me just jump 10 giant steps backwards, and I did that. I said, okay, what's a compressor that I would believe that gives you a lot of character? A lot. I mean, a lot. Like, you think Manly. But I said, okay, well, Manly, if that's the case, now Eva Lee, she said it herself, Manly, it's about the transformers. So I said, well, what compressor would give you the girth, or the fatness, or the thickness of that? And I came up with this. The Gates Sta-Level, an extremely simple iteration of a feedback, old school type compressor that will give you tons and tons of character. Now, to snag one of these things, if you got one, God bless you. You stumbled. I heard a story about someone who found one in somebody's attic. They were originally used as broadcast compressors, like companies like Orban and other companies that were broadcast specific, and there were other companies like UA that were more audio professional specific. This is going way back, to the day of the flood. Okay. But it was more of a broadcast specific type of compressor. But it found its way into music. Okay. And if you know anything about old AM type broadcasting, it's the levels had to be constant. And when you listen to broadcast radio, it always stays limiting, and the limiting on it always stays constant. Now, the thing about that Sta-Level, it has a lot of character. And that's based on the design sense of A, it being a feed backwards compressor, one, and B, it had a huge transformer in the back. Now, like I said, if you found one and you have one, or if you have access to one, God bless you. But there is a company, I was doing some more research, and I was like, okay, well, what's the closest thing to it right now? And what I came up with is the company Retro Instruments. They re-released their version of the Sta-Level. Now, let me jump back. Sta-Level. That's the schematic. Also, I didn't touch on this point. When you're looking at a schematic, and this corroborates what I'm saying about the feedback with design. Let's just before we jump to Retro Instruments, let me just touch on this really quick. The design, I don't know how many of you can read schematics. I'm not that great, but I do understand what I'm looking at to a degree when I am looking at it. The first 1, 2, 3, 6 items, you can't see my cursor. The little circles, those are all tubes. Those are all vacuum tubes. And you will notice when looking at it, you have two different circuits. One is for the controlling of the dynamics. The other is the actual signal passage. And you'll notice that there's a tap at the back end of the schematic, which feeds it all the way back into the original circuitry. So that's going to give you the sound. 6 tubes in this thing. They're of a beautiful classic type of design. And like I said, a company like Retro Instruments has introduced their version of it. Now, this thing, I'm telling you, I heard Greg Wells, I think it is, the engineer, did an extensive, you could search for it on YouTube, an extensive review where he ran bass through this thing. I'm going to tell you, this has never happened to me. And my ears are just becoming just as new as most. He ran a bass, a vocal, everything, drums through this. I have never heard a compressor other than maybe the Verimue and the Fairchild that I was like, you get like that, like, oh my God, type of a response to it. Now, I'm kind of new to this whole Retro Instruments, the company themselves. Turns around, they've been around for a little bit. I'm the one late to the party. But they got some goods, y'all. They got a 500 series version of the Sta-Level as well as the Sta-Level. Now, but to that point, look at how this thing is built. Look at the size of that transformer. Now, I don't know whether it's a nickel or it's a steel core. Now, and how it's wound. I don't know the windings on it. I don't know whether it's, stepping up or down the signal by how much. But the fact that that thing is that large, you know what I mean? You could imagine how much bottom end girth you're going to get from it, whether it's a nickel core or a steel, because both of them have their ways of, nickel as well as steel, of just enhancing not the top end so much as it is the lower mids and the mids. So imagine when you get a chance, go on Greg Wells' site on YouTube, look at that video regarding the Retro Instruments Sta-Level. But that thing is ginormous. You can see all 6 tubes. They give you the 6386 option in the back. Okay? I mean, when I tell you this is one of the best sounding compressors I've heard in a long time in terms of just character. So to answer the question of, most of the young people that keep reaching out to me with that question, does it give you character? Maybe not as much as that Retro Instruments will. And that's because of the design sense, because of the, now, don't get me wrong. The Clark Technic as well as the KT2A and the 1176 versions are feed backwards designs. Okay? DBX is a feed forward design. Okay? So keeping, the old versus the new, DBX being the more newer jacks and the Clark Technic being a throwback to what was before. If you're looking for character, you're going to get character from the tubes and the transformer. And when you look at this thing, okay, I would imagine that anything you throw through it, now you guys have to stay with me. Stay with me, please, because I'm going to hit you over the head with a hammer of good information in a minute. But keep this design sense at front of mind when you are talking about, I want something with character. The gates, or rather in this case, the Retro Instruments Sta-Level will give you the character you're looking for. However, it comes at a premium, okay, of over $3,000. I've never said this. I'm going to say it to you now. Is it worth it? It's worth every single solitary nickel. If you are a person that's hell-bent on finding something that's going to give you the character you're looking for, that's the compressor you want. If you're looking for a ton of color, that's the design sense you want. I mean, sometimes things come at a premium. This would be one of those times where if you're looking for character, does it color the sound? If that's what you're constantly leaning towards, you're going to have to pay. Now, would I necessarily overdrive a compressor like that? Maybe not. My usage of the tool is going to be different from yours. But guess what? We will both arrive at the same place in that we know we're getting a quality sound based on a technical design sense of the feedback design that we like, and we're getting quality sound based on what's in this unit. I mean, God, I mean, just look at the look at the transformer alone, man. The transformer says it all. I mean, it's half. If this is a 2 to 3 unit high in design, the transformer is 3/4 of the size of the back of the unit. So I mean, we can somewhat answer our own questions based on what we see. We're guaranteed character. So somebody says it's like a tank. Yeah, man. That like I said, I don't know who wound the transformers, but you could imagine. Like I said, if that thing is like that big, the girth you're going to get at the bottom end, because whether it's a nickel or steel, they both have nickel and steel have two different characteristics which favor the mids, pushing the mids forward. So if that's important to you, and it should be important to everybody, because listen, everything is in the mid range. But if you're playing the guitar and suddenly I'm constantly having to bump the mid-range frequencies up every time I do a recording, or I have to keep EQing and I keep changing this out, then maybe that's what you're looking for, something that could push it. Because with guitar players, you're looking for that harmonic distortion to an extent, and I would imagine a transformer that large is going to give you exactly what you're looking for. So let's jump forward with some quick questions and acknowledgments of individual. Mr. Pirate Brain, good to see you, man. And that's that. Any questions before I remediate you all again? Because listen, stay with me. I got a surprise for you. I'm telling you, this is going to be good. Oh, I just hit my knee. But this is going to be Kizizu. Okay. All right. Jazz recordings. Any questions? Okay. So let's keep it moving, people. Keep it moving. Sound like this. Y'all used to watch Martin. Keep it moving, people. Keep it moving. All right. So let's keep it moving. Now, yeah, it's been a while since I could say, and I think the last time I had this reaction to a compressor was the first time I heard a Veramil, and that was years ago. Even when I owned the 747 VT, I didn't get that same impression. Well, it's a very well made unit as well, but I didn't get the same level of like wow when I heard it for the first time. But Germany is in the house. Okay, by Max S. What's up, brother? Okay. But is it, yeah, this worth the $3,000 that, you're going to pay for the unit. But by the same light, there's a company that I was in touch with out of Fort Lauderdale, I think it is, in Florida. And they are Audioscape Engineering, and they have their version of the Sta-Level as well. Now, Charlie is a real cool brother. I hope he gets a chance to check out this live stream. We've been going back and forth for a while. I'm trying to get a hold of their varying iterations of compressors as well as, and they do very good work. Each unit is hand wired. They're developing quite a few, and I'm impressed with just about everything that they're doing. I mean, maybe Warm Audio is the only other company that has impressed me with their effort to bring to the average consumer or the average home studio owner the best equipment that one could get a hold of at a price point that they know, most people can afford. And this unit is quite impressive. Listen, I said to you all before, and I'm going to say it again. Okay? A schematic is a schematic. A schematic is nothing more than a recipe for how to put something together. Now, what you source in this schematic from the transformers, which are those little curly cute things in the front and in the back, what you source from the schematic in terms of components, capacitors, resistors, as well as transformers and the like, that's up to you. You could source good parts from great companies like Panasonic, Nissan, as well as other, quality component makers, or you can source crap. Straightaway crap made by a straightaway crap component manufacturer. Garbage in will yield garbage out. Can you build a Sta-Level? Yes, you can. You just got to source the right parts, folks. But Audioscape Engineering has saved you the headache. They build one-offs of these things for a meager, small price of $1,399, including Cinemac transformers and their own proprietary transformer on the inside. Now, I think, based on what I've heard, I'm going to let you hear it in a minute. You tell me what you think. I think they've done a great job in terms of providing, again, the average home studio owner a quality iteration of a compressor that, if you are looking for character, this compressor will give you all the character that you're looking for. If you can't afford a Retro Instruments Sta-Level, this is what you buy. So let's jump down to listening to Audioscape Engineering and on the back end, we'll talk about what you just heard.
See this world that we're living in, I see all other life just giving in 'cause of you. You're so hot that you could turn sun blind on the mysteries of love and fear. She's got me working through the night. I'll take the fortune and fame, don't need the critics' acclaim. At the end of the day, the girl's what I want. You see this world that we're living in, I see all other life just giving in 'cause of you. You're so hot that you could turn sun blind on the mysteries of love and fear. She's got me working through the night. I'll take the fortune and fame, don't need the critics' acclaim. At the end of the day, the girl's what I want.
Now, that's from their website. Will I drive a compressor like that hard? Probably not. They did. You're not hearing distortion as much as you're hearing the tubes responding in a harmonic way to what he's singing in the second example, that is. But if you're a person that's looking for character in your compressor, you're short on cash, you like the Gates Sta-Level, and you can't afford a Retro Instruments reissue, then Audioscape Engineering is offering you this iteration of a Gates Sta-Level for a meager $1,400. You cannot beat that with the bat if you are a person that's looking for character. So with that said, let's jump into some questions. Anyone have any questions? Any questions, comments about what you just heard? I will wait. I'm looking at the comments. So Electric Outwork says the stay levels are pretty tasty. Yeah. And he says built like a tank. Yeah, man. That thing, you see the size of that? This thing is huge, man. Huge, 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 huge. Any questions? Okay. So let's quickly recap. The gates stay level, as are the 1176, the LA2A, and other mu bass compressors are of a feed backwards design, which means the audio will pass through an amplifier in the front, get amplified, and the tap that's going to feed the gain reduction circuitry is being fed back into the amp to constantly monitor and keep that signal tight. That's why these compressors sound the way they do. Now, when you're looking at a stay level, you got 6 tubes. So, I mean, you can answer your own question based on the design sense of, wow, will I get the character I'm looking for? And the answer to that will be yes. So let's jump back to some questions real quick. Mr. Smooth says, so this kind of compression is great for instruments. It might be if you're a guitarist, you know, and you're looking for some harmonic distortion for your signal. Yeah, if you want a lot of character, you know, and like I would say, listen, go to Audioscape Engineering's website and check out all of their audio examples, as well as look up Retro Instruments and check out their stuff. Like I said, if you don't have a gate stay level, then okay. These are current iterations that are one end of the spectrum, very expensive, and at the opposite end, somewhat affordable, you know. So, you know, to your point, is it great for instruments? I don't know. For me, everyone's mileage may vary. You know, that's how I would approach this whole thing. So keeping that in mind. So Electric Outworks says, are they built to order? Yes, they are. That's what I'm, you know, pushing you in that direction, only because, first of all, Charlie is a very personal, very, very personable guy. I mean, you know, you meet people that you just interact with and it's like, hey, what's up? Like an old friend. And they have that type of relationship that spills over into their customer service, you know. So I would go to their site and I would reach out to him and talk with him. He'll get right back to you. Really nice guy, you know. But they are built to order. They sell out of them quick. You know, if you want to order one, you're going to have to let this guy know ahead of time, because as soon as he builds them, they're gone. They're that popular, you know. So, let's jump forward. Mr. Smooth says, would you want to drive vocals like that outside of rock vocals? You know what? When people are doing hip hop, you know, like I look at videos of like old Jim Jones when he's like he's trying to kiss the mic, you know, it's going to give you that, you know, that in your face type of forwardness, you know, when you compress it, because you can't be this up on the mic and expect the signal to behave itself when you're feeding it so much gain from, you know, from your voice to the capsule to the preamp, etc. You know, so I would imagine that it would push that vocal forward for you, and you can use it in hip hop. You know, for all of those that are looking for that Jay-Z type, you know, vocal, I would imagine that this would be one of your desired go-to compressors. Sunday's best, but okay. No, they will come out. They will let you know on Sundays. Yeah, they have their own way of doing it, because, you know, in terms of ordering one of these things, I don't think the team that's assembling them is that large, and they're hand built. Okay, so, you know, the fact that it is that you can't beat it from that perspective. You know, I mean, they're hand making these things one at a time. And B. Smith says, I think the stay level sounds great on horns. I wouldn't be able to tell you other than the fact that I've never used one in my life. No, and the closest I've come to it is a Fairchild, and if it's if the Fairchild is the godfather of them all, then this runs a very close second because the design sense is both the same, you know. So, Mr. Pirate Brain says, and will the stereo version of the Sta-Level work on the master bus? Yeah, man. They have another the Chandler version, Audioscape Engineering. They have a stereo version available as well, and these guys are doing things, man. You gotta check them out. But I think Retro Instruments also has a stereo version that you might really like. If you're looking for some creaminess, you might really like that. But check out Retro Instruments as well as Audioscape Engineering. Electric Hour says, personally, I wouldn't push a compressor that hard for jazz or ballads. That said, sometimes the distortion you hear when a track is not a problem. It's tracks are in the mix. Okay, I didn't get the last part of the track is. But to your point, yeah, it's unnecessary to overdrive like classical or a jazz or any type of ensemble type music because it doesn't call for it. And in many instances, in R&B as well as hip hop and other vocal music, be it folk or not, you don't have to nail a compressor. That's why, the goal of this live stream is to put to rest the whole what does it sound like thing, because I keep getting that question. If you're looking for color, you can't miss by overdriving this thing because of the way it's designed, Maybe the tubes and the FET and the Clark Technic won't give you exactly what you're looking for, and you need more. Well, here's more, And if you can't afford Retro Instruments or an actual Sta-Level, then you go and you get the Audioscape Engineering. Again, these are tools. You can't go wrong, Okay, that's sometimes the distortion you hear is a track solo. Yeah. That's true. If you solo a track, sometimes the problem is not the instrument as much as it is the overall crowding of the mix bus of Pro Tools or the 2-track or the bus period of a console. B Smith, wow, they built the order. Okay, John Land says, really nice. Thanks for sharing the audio. Most definitely. They have more, John, on their website, Audioscape Engineering. They have more examples that cover all bases from instruments as well as vocals. So if you want to go and check that. And they have also examples on their SoundCloud if you need further, information about them. Yeah, he said Miss Smooth like Jim Jones kissing. Yeah, he used to be all up on the mic when he was rapping, Sta-Level on horns would be awesome. You get tons of smooth, smoky. Yeah, with that ribbon. Yeah, man, with that ribbon mic with the horns. Yes, sir. First of all, the ribbon has its character, introducing, a classic preamp and the Sta-Level. Can't go wrong. So let's recap something real quick. When you're considering a compressor, you have two different design choices: feed forward or a feed backward design. The feedback designs are making a comeback because people are looking at the characters of an 1176, LA28, and other mu-based compressors nowadays. You only have one other choice, and that's VCA-based, which is going to take a sidechain from the audio that it is being fed with, run it through the circuit, and introduce both back into the mix, and that's the output. both have their places, both have their purposes, and it's up to the individual user to decide, hey, which is best for me and in what circumstance. Now, for most of us who haven't had the history or the time doing this to have collected enough equipment, this is a good time. If you are just getting into the business and you're trying to collect, classic reissued pieces, I mean, you have to pick of the litter. You want to be a purist and a critic? You can go to UA. You want to give people like Audioscape Engineering, who, by the way, their version of the LA2A you must listen to. I was like, oh my God, you've got to hear this stuff. They are doing things. So, I mean, it's like you're a kid in a candy store. You let your ears at this point be the judge of what's best for you, and what's best for your budget. I mean, when I was coming up, Jesus, I remember the first time I bought my 163. I thought I was in Happyville. That's after seeing it at Unique Recording for so many years. You feel like, wow, I got a piece of what I'm used to working on most of the time. But nowadays, it's like Warm Audio, you got Heritage, you got this one, that one, a third one. It's a matter of like, okay, well, let me listen to it all. You're at a buffet now, and you're letting your ears, because now it's getting down to that. If you're gonna have to constantly question, what does it sound? Does it impart character? Then you are looking for character. You need a character piece, and here's a character piece: the Gates Sta-Level, the Retro Instruments version of it, as well as the Audioscape Engineering versions. Go listen, let your ears and your budget dictate your next action. That's all you can do. But, the constant back and forth with what sounds like what is redundant, in that at this point, you're playing with the thought in your mind that, okay, well, I can't afford an 1176, so let me rationalize, if you will. Let me rationalize how great a Clock Technic or Warm Audio version of it is. Then you just, you're putting yourself through unnecessary duress, in that just go out and buy an 1176. Save your money. You're doing the same thing, and I did this as a kid as well. I remember trying to rationalize buying my first 414. It's $1,000+ at the time, and I'm sitting by trying to rationalize whether or not the CAD, I think it was the big one, the CAD, but Conneaut Audio Devices out in Ohio, whether that was as good as the 414. And I knew in my heart of hearts that it might be, but it wasn't what I really wanted. Okay, it wasn't what I really wanted. I wanted a 414. So I had the cash in the hand to buy the CAD, but at the end of the day, I went out and I saved more money and bought a 414, because that's where my heart was. So if your heart is leaning in the direction of a tried and true original UA 1176, then that's what you buy. Don't take the $400 and go out and buy the Clock Technic, or the $599 or $699, whatever they charge it for, the WA76. Go buy an 1176. Don't rationalize it, because you're torturing yourself. As far as I'm concerned, at that point, you're torturing yourself. But if you have a certain sound you're trying to acquire, then, and you're chasing this phantom constantly, then you need to just deal with it head on and say, I'm going to buy an actual Retro Instruments. If you're going to have to be technical or critical about which is better, Audioscape Engineering, or how close does it come to a Gates, or whatever the case may be. You're torturing yourself at that point. So that's one game you might want to stop playing. All right. Any other questions? All right. So let's jump forward. This is the Retro Instruments version of the Gates Sta-Level. I heard this thing and it is absolutely killing. Okay, killing. Go to Greg Wells. Just search for him on YouTube and Greg Wells Retro Instruments. And also they have a 500 series version of the same compressor, which sounds killing. Period. You know. So okay, here's two more questions. We bought large scale purchases. Have I ever tried the Golden Age project compressors? They have a Neve. Okay, I've had, it's like I've had one bad experience using Golden Age projects equipment on a professional gig, and if I didn't have a fail-safe in place, I would be giving those people back their money. Or if it would have failed mid-vocal, I would have been forced to give these people back their money. I don't trust the company, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying their equipment failed on me in a professional circumstance. Imagine you hire a plumber. He comes to fix your sink and he got Fisher Price tools and they fail on him. You gonna pay this guy? No. So it was like that. I'll trust any other company other than Golden Age. And I'm not saying it because I don't want to start getting Golden Age hate mail now next. Y'all don't know. I don't want to start that circumstance. But I'm talking about my professional experience with their equipment. It was a nightmare. And I said, never again. Never again. Never again. And you got to think also, when you're buying equipment, it has to come from a perspective of what will I be using this for and how can I get it serviced? If you know you're going to be abusing your equipment, then it just makes sense just to buy the best of the best. Because sometimes when things are well made, they could stand the stress that you're going to throw at it. And you need to be able to get it repaired. So here it is, Retro Instruments and Audioscape Engineering are right here in America. Your stuff fails, guess what? You could get it repaired. I'm not sure the same can be said of Golden Age projects. And I wouldn't put that theory to the test. I mean, maybe on my own stuff, but I was on a client gig. This was a loaner from a friend. I was like, you don't have to worry about me buying your equipment because that is a big fat no. Nope. I can't trust you. And who got time to be on the phone with people talking, can you get this repaired? I don't have time for that. Time is money. And now I got to spend time sitting down, searching, and I've been here. Trust me when I tell you, every time even with the most expensive of gear, when it fails, you got to get it repaired. And half the time when you buy this stuff from these people at these retailers, they don't have these people do not have a clue as to how to give you back end support. And that's what makes it so bad. You sold it to me and you can't even hold my hand to the repair guy. You don't know where the repair guy is, but you sold it. That's like you going to a Honda dealer, buying a Honda, and then, I need to get it, fixed. And he's talking about, I don't know where the Honda. You sold the car. You sold the car to me. You gonna tell me you don't know how I can get it repaired? So that has been the story. When I had an Allen and Heath console, Dyne Audios, these are international products I bought that cost a lot of money. Then when they fail due to stress, as equipment will do, you got to get it repaired. But when you go back to the source and they can't tell you how, that's not good. So Golden Age projects, no, not on client stuff. You want to buy one to fool around with on your own time, that's fine, but don't take client money with it. That's not a good idea. Okay. So, listen, this has been good. I just want to share and hopefully put a cap on this question. You know, does it dull the sound or is it transparent? You know, I get varying iterations of the same question. What does it sound like? Does it distort this, that, or the third? And if you're looking for character, you cannot go wrong with the Gates Stay Level or some other version therein. You cannot go wrong. So, with that in mind, this has been good. It was brief. How many minutes? Almost an hour. I appreciate you all for being here and spending this time with me on this Sunday. Hopefully I answered all of your questions, including those who will watch this on the replay. But listen, thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you all for being here. And keep yourself safe. And don't forget to say hello to the family for me. Thanks for being here, guys.